At the beginning of the movie, we are introduced to the main character. A girl named Natalie is chatting with his best friend about the future. Gabe is sure that the heroine will definitely fulfill all her plans and will go to Los Angeles after receiving her diploma. Natalie believes that without a plan there is no success and is going to become a successful cartoonist. Gabe thinks they should remember the moment before graduation forever. Natalie agrees and the friends have a game night. The heroine asks for a promise that it won't change anything about their friendship. Soon, the University of Texas is celebrating graduation. Lots of people are drinking, dancing, and rejoicing at the end of one of the stages of their lives. A girl named Kara shows up at the party, but she doesn't party with anyone and goes to the restroom, where the heroine has already spent quite a bit of time. Natalie laments that this is not how she envisioned her graduation. Kara gives the heroine some pills as well as a pregnancy test. Natalie assures her that everything was safe with Gabe, but still decides to check. The heroine does 2 tests at once so that there are no problems. While everyone is outside having fun, holding contests and singing, Natalie and her friend are anxiously waiting for the test to show up. Kara reassures the heroine she is sure everything will be fine and the trip to LA will happen. Finally, the time comes and Natalie looks at the test. In one of the universes it turns out to be negative, but in the other, on the contrary. The second Natalie is very worried, but the first Natalie is excited to go to Los Angeles. The first character goes back to the party and has a great time with Kara, dancing and enjoying the prom. But the second Natalie is looking at Gabe and doesn't know how to confess her pregnancy to him. The second heroine makes up her mind and takes the guy aside from the dance floor. Gabe looks shocked and is silent for a long time. The guy apologizes for what happened and doesn't know what to say. Gabe promises that he will support whatever decision the heroine makes. The next day, Natalie tells her friend that she will keep the baby. The heroine asks Kara not to stay for her and to go to Los Angeles to fulfill her dream. Meanwhile, the first Natalie packs her bags and leaves home with her friend. But the second heroine sees the world less rosy and goes with Gabe to her parents. The cars, like the threads of Natalie's fate, drive off in different directions. In addition to the usual 5-year plan, another plan emerges for motherhood. Second Natalie is visibly nervous, about to tell her parents why the trip to Los Angeles has been cancelled. Tina takes this news rather coldly. The woman is angry at Gabe, at the fact that because of him her daughter had to leave her dream of working, that she needs to live with her again, not alone with her husband. Rick is of the same opinion and considers a guy who graduated with a history degree and works at a dry cleaner as untenable as possible. Natalie tries to reassure her parents and convince them that she just put the plan with LA on pause. When Tina and her husband go out, Gabe decides to propose to the heroine. However, the parents strongly oppose this, believing that such a thing will only add problems. Natalie communicates with the guy, she is sure that he will be a great father. But the heroine asks Gabe to marry a girl whom he will truly love. Meanwhile, the first Natalie, along with a friend, goes to Los Angeles. The heroine admires the scale of the city, but work in it is not so easy to find. Natalie manages to find an assistant position for Lucy, whom she has always admired. Kara asks her not to miss her chance and to apply. Soon the second Natalie wakes up to a commotion. There is now a treadmill in her room and Tina and Rick are working out there. The woman does not apologize to her daughter for waking up earlier, considering it revenge, and reminds her that the heroine needs to go to a doctor's interview. Meanwhile, the first Natalie doesn't get a response to the application and decides to attend Lucy's party. Kara manages to get a job. Gabe goes with the second Natalie for a checkup. And the first heroine is dressed nicely and nervous before entering the party. Behind the bar, Natalie is helped by a handsome guy working as an actor. After learning about the situation with Lucy and the fact that the heroine intends to get into the party off the list, Jake admires her. The guy advises to pass the guard confidently, and then there will be no problems. Natalie manages to sneak into the party. Jake also attends the party and helps the heroine look for Lucy. It turns out that the woman does not attend such events. Jake asks the heroine not to leave so quickly and keep him company. Meanwhile, the second Natalie is on the phone with Kara. The heroine is nauseous almost all the time, she is sad, eats little and hasn't drawn for a long time. Meanwhile, the first Natalie receives a call from Lucy's office. That's also where she runs into Jake. It turns out he works here and was instrumental in getting Natalie called in for an interview. Lucy comes to love the heroine's facial expressions and decides to draw her. The second Natalie gets a job at a coffee shop and finds out at an ultrasound that she's having a girl. The heroine reads books about pregnancy and decorates the nursery on New Year's Eve. Gabe tries to help her with everything. Meanwhile, the first Natalie gets a job at Lucy's, draws more and studies new literature. The heroine begins to see Jake and get to know him better. The guy is sure that Natalie has a brilliant future ahead of her. The heroine learns that Jake also has a 5-year plan. Soon the second Natalie goes into labor and Gabe drives her to the hospital. On the way, the heroine asks to stop for a burger as there will be no time to eat at the hospital. Rick is very worried about his daughter but tries to support her somehow. The labor goes well and Natalie names her daughter Rosie, being very happy with her. Meanwhile, the first Natalie continues to work on animations. The heroine helps Jake to catch goats wandering around the office. The second Natalie learns the joys of motherhood, waking up at night from the cries of a baby. Gabe tries to help the heroine by taking care of daughter. Rick does not help the guy, but says that someday he will miss this time. Meanwhile, Natalie looks at pictures of Kara, who is living life to the fullest, attending parties and being active on social media. Tina supports her daughter and says that pregnancy and motherhood change any person a lot and it is impossible to go back. The woman decides to cheer Natalie up and cuts her hair. The heroine is crying because she has started to look like her mom. Gabe tries to support her, realizing that it's not just her hair that's the problem. Natalie explains that it's like she has no life now. The heroine no longer draws, goes out with friends, or does anything. Gabe reassures her, however, saying that keeping a little person alive is a lot of work. Rosie turns 6 months old, and the heroine makes her a cake. Meanwhile, the first Natalie is also starting to have problems. Lucy is unhappy with the heroine's work and her ideas. Natalie complains about this, believing that the woman simply does not see her as an artist. Jake tells her that he will soon change jobs and get closer to his dream of becoming a movie director. The guy thinks it's worth making a movie based on the Gone with the Ghosts manga. Natalie criticizes this idea, believing that by doing so the magic of the cartoon will be destroyed. At dinner, the heroine shares her dreams and plans for the future. Natalie worries that long-term plans seem unrealistic. Jake looks at the heroine and says that once upon a time, when he moved to Los Angeles, he thought he didn't belong here at all. However, he has changed his mind recently and Jake kisses Natalie afterward. Kara discovers that they are together. Meanwhile, the second Natalie congratulates Gabe on the housewarming party. The guy teaches the heroine how to play the drums and then kisses her. Gabe says he wants to be a family and suggests she move in with him with Rosie. Natalie is nervous and reports that she's very scared to make such a decision, realizing that her comfortable world could come crashing down. Gabe becomes visibly upset but accepts the heroine's decision. Natalie communicates with Kara and realizes that she made a mistake by letting the guy go. A lot of time passes. Rose grows up and the heroine continues to take care of her and spend a lot of time on motherhood. Meanwhile, the first Natalie continues her relationship with Jake and is happy about the release of his new movie. Soon Gabe arrives at Natalie's house with his new girlfriend Miranda. The heroine is upset but tries to hide her jealousy and sadness. Meanwhile, the first Natalie spends time with her boyfriend. The heroine is getting ready to show her new artwork to Lucy and is visibly nervous. Jake likes her ideas and is confident that everything will go great. However, Lucy, having received a link to the works, does not open it for a long time. Jake tells the news that he is going to Scotland for 6 months or a year for a new project. Natalie is upset as they had planned to start living together, but believes that they will definitely work something out. Soon the heroine sees Jake off on a trip. And the second Natalie brings Rosie to her father, but is visibly nervous. After that, the heroine decides to visit Kara. In a cafe, Natalie accidentally meets Jake. The first heroine tries to communicate with her boyfriend, but the connection is constantly interrupted. The second Natalie calls Rosie and finds out that Gabe left her all night with his girlfriend. The heroine is angry and plans to return home as soon as possible. Kara is upset because she made plans and took a vacation for Natalie's sake. Lucy calls Natalie in and tells her that Natalie has skills but no style, which is grounds for dismissal. The heroine gets very upset, cries, and calls Jake. Natalie thinks that they are also drifting apart, not choosing an apartment and not communicating well. Jake thinks this is unjustified but informs her that he has nothing to say. Meanwhile, the second Natalie returns to Rosie's and learns that Gabe was absent because he was proposing to Miranda. The heroine gets very upset and returns with Rosie to her parents' house. The first Natalie does the same. She learns that Gabe is expecting a baby with his wife and comes with Kara to his party. First Natalie gets upset when she has to talk about her breakup with her boyfriend and her creative crisis. The heroine quarrels with Kara and runs away. Meanwhile, a friend arrives at the second Natalie's house. The heroine apologizes for running away from Los Angeles. Both versions of Natalie begin to spend much more time drawing and finding her style and creativity. The heroine draws owls since that's the cute nickname given to Rosie Gabe. And first Natalie focuses on the Indigo cartoon. Kara praises her drawings and advises her to submit to a contest. The work of both versions of Natalie deserves to be recognized. Gabe congratulates the heroine and promises to come with Rosie to the contest. It turns out that the guy will be performing at this fest with drumming too. First Natalie leaves Jake a message and tells him about her success. Finally, it's time for the fest. While talking about the cartoon, the second Natalie socializes and meets Lucy. She then meets Gabe, who has become a celebrity. The heroine and Rosie also attend Gabe's concert. Afterwards, the guy reveals that he broke up with Miranda. Jake visits Natalie and tells her that he'd rather be with her. Lucy praises the heroine's work and offers to return to the office. The second Natalie decides to try living with Gabe. And the first Natalie reconciles with Jake. This is the end of the movie. Thank you all for watching this video to the end. Give this video a like. Write in the comments what you think about this movie and see you in new videos.